Hello guys, and welcome to the first video of the Websecnow series. I'm going to kind of do a couple of follow-up videos for the Websecnow series that we've been doing on web penetration. I've had some people request videos on teaching how to protect your web applications from malicious coding such as cross-site scripting and SQL injection. So I'm going to do a little small series. It's not going to be too big of a series because there's really not that much information to cover. But since it was requested, and a lot of times when you're pen testing your own stuff, you want to be able to go back and fix the problems. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Normally, during a pen test, your job is really just to pen test and submit a document afterwards showing all the different things that you found vulnerable, and it's not really your job to fix it, since that's not what we're paid to do. But since sometimes you either maybe doing your pen test on yourself, or maybe a friend or family member or something like that, and you want to be able to go back and fix the issues. And there's a lot of information on the internet for coding in PHP and MySQL and some of the other web design languages. And some of the coding is really bad, and a lot of times they don't cover security. So what I'm going to do is just a short series teaching you some basic security on PHP and MySQL, since that's really the only two items that I use. I don't use ASP or ASP.NET or any of the others. So what this series is going to cover is PHP and MySQL. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to create a basic form, which you would see on just about any contact page. And we're just going to make a very simple form with the first name, last name, email, and comment. And we're going to send it as post data, and we're not going to use get. I very rarely use get for anything, but we're going to use post. We're going to make it post to the exact same page that we're on, so that we can see what's going on. I'm just going to create a table here, and the first thing I'm going to do is add the first name in. Then we're going to do an input field, and it's going to be text. And we're going to call it, we're going to name it first name. Something simple that we'll remember later, because we're going to be using it. And since this is going to be a lot faster, we're going to go ahead and just copy and paste this 3 times. And then go change this up. I'm going to do last name here. Last name. And email. And then for this one, we're going to do comment, but instead of doing a text field here, we're going to actually do a text area. So let's delete this out. We're going to do a text area with say 40 columns and 5 rows. By the way, guys, this is my first video ever trying to teach somebody something over the internet like this. So I apologize if I stumble on my words some, because I'm not used to teaching people. I normally let Afterburn do most of the teaching stuff here, and I just come up with some of the content and help him do labs and such. But since I know a little more about programming and web design and such, I'm going to try to do a series on this, and maybe I'll do some more stuff later once I become a little more comfortable with it. So I apologize about anything ahead of time. Alright, so we have our first name, last name, email, and comment fields We're going to need an input button. We're going to need a submit button, I should say. We're going to call we're going to name this submit. We actually don't even really need a name for it, since we're not really gonna we're not gonna be using the information from it at all. But I'll put it in there anyways, just to be just in case we need it for anything later. And let's close our farm off and save that, and we're gonna check and see what it looks like. As you can see here, I already had it here before. We have a first name, last name, email, and comment, and a submit button. If you hit the submit button, it doesn't do anything for right now because we haven't coded it yet. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create some PHP code here. And just for demonstration purposes, I don't want it to just display anything on the page as soon as it loads up before we even allow the user to put any information in. So I'm going to do a quick check to see if the content coming from the post variable is empty. And if it is empty, then just don't do anything, and just we're going to refresh the page. And if it is not empty, then it'll actually finish running the rest of the code here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our first name variable. And we're going to check the post variable to see if there's anything inside the variable. And if there is, then it's going to save it into this variable. Let's go ahead and copy paste this a few different times. I'm going to need one for all four of them. Change this into last name. And then email. And then comment. I'm not the best at typing code also, if you can tell that. I do a lot of mistakes. I apologize for that too. I don't like when I'm coding something for everything to be all unaligned like this. It's kind of harder to read, so normally I do a couple of tabs on like this to where I line all my code up some so it's easier to read. It's just a coding practice I've always done. You don't have to do it like this if you don't want. Now that we have our variables set and we're going to pull all this information and put it into variables, if you notice here on the post variable, the names of each one of the names here is what we're going to be pulling from. First name, last name, email, and the comment right here. But in order to see what any of this information is doing, we need to echo it out to the screen. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to echo first name out. We're going to concatenate a break so that we can see each one of the lines underneath each other instead of all bunched up. It'll make it easier to read and easier to see what's going on. Let's go ahead and copy and paste this a few times also. We're not going to need the break on the last one though. Change this one to last name, then email, and then comment. Alright, there you go. There's our form, and there's our basic coding to take the variables from each one of these and just display them on the screen. So let's test it out real quick. Refresh the page again. Actually, no, this refresh it a different way. Alright, first we're going to fill out some bogus information here. Just put a bunch of junk in the comment, it doesn't matter. And there you go. We took all the information from all these boxes and we put it here on the screen. We got the first name, last name, email, and a comment. Now this may not look too bad to you right now. Everything seems to be working, but what happens if a hacker comes to this form and they decide they want to try out a JavaScript or something in your code? Since we are not checking in our code here in our variables to see whether or not the code contains any malicious coding, it's going to display anything that somebody types in here. So let me demonstrate this first. Let's say we want to be a little crazy and we want instead of putting our name there, we want our name to be bold. So let's do this. Actually, let's change the font too while we're at it. Since we're not checking for it, we can do this. And do font color. We're not going to change the size of it. We're just going to do the color. Let's say red. And frost. And our font tag here. And in our bold. And then let's do some more bogus stuff here. And put a bunch of junk in here. Hit submit, and there you go. We got a bold red text. That wasn't supposed to be there, since the form itself is only supposed to submit normal black text to maybe an email. Maybe this is a contact form and you want people to be able to contact you and stay in touch with you, and you don't want them to be able to inject code into your form like this. Something else that they could do, instead of just injecting some HTML tags, they can actually inject some script tags such as JavaScript. Well, let's test that out. Say they want to let's just make a pop-up come up on our see if we can force a pop-up on our screen here. So let's start the script tag, and we're going to do a JavaScript pop-up. So we type in alert, and let's say you are vulnerable. In the script, and we can just type in whatever here again. Type a bunch of junk in, hit the spit button, and there you go. We just injected JavaScript onto this web form, and that's not what we wanted. We didn't want to allow JavaScript or any type of scripting to be ran across our form like this, because not only does it affect it could affect the database if they decided to do an SQL injection in this area, or if they wanted to redirect this page to another page, they can inject it with a JavaScript redirect, and it would redirect the page. So we don't want this any type of malicious code to be injected into our form. So that's what we're going to go over now. I'm going to teach you guys how to protect your forms from this stuff. Now, there's a couple different ways to do this. The old way is using HTML entities or strip tags and HTML special characters and some other functions that were in the old versions of PHP. I believe all these were before PHP 5.3 and newer. I'm not sure if it was 5.30 or 5.31 or up, or I'm not exactly sure if it was just 5.3 or if it was actually a version or two after 5.3. But the newest version uses a new function called filter input, and I'm going to show you a quick website. I'm going to also put this in the description on the bottom of the video when I upload this, to show you guys that the link to this is on W3 Schools. You could actually go to Google and Google this like I did myself. The one we're going to be using is filter input right here. It's going to check the input coming from each one of the form fields, and we're going to parse the data using a sanitize filter to check and see if there's certain malicious code entering into the to the data, and we're going to remove it. There's going to be three different ones we're going to use here. The first one is going to be the string one. We're going to parse the information from first name and last name through the sanitize string. And then for the email, we're going to use the sanitize email one. And then for the comment, we're going to use special character one. I don't. The reason why I'm not using string for the comment is every once in a while when you want to be a little crazy when you're doing a comment, you would maybe you type in a comment and you want to do something like this. You want to say, "Hey, what's up?" and you may want to put like a heart or something. Well, if you use string is gonna see that you have this greater than symbol here, and it's gonna delete it out. So instead of saying, "Hey, what's up," it's gonna say, "Hey, what's up 3," because it's gonna remove that out. So for comments, it's better to not use the string. The string sanitize. It's better to use a special character one, so that some characters are actually allowed here, just not all of them. So we're going to use a special characters one for that, just so that we can post a heart if we want it to, or just whatever. There's different types of symbols and stuff that you can use that it's not going to delete. So I'm going to show you guys how to set this function up and how to check it. We're not. It uses a different type of check on the variable itself. It doesn't use these the variable that's set up like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this out, and we're going to do filter input. Alrighty then. And then we're going to do input underscore post. This is going to check the variable. As you can see here, it doesn't have the $sign in front of it. The way this filter input works is it works only like this. If you're doing a get method, then you would put get here instead of post. But either way, it has to be typed like this, otherwise the function will not work. And then we're going to add our first name in here. And then we're going to add our filter. We're going to filter sanitize string, and then close that out. And that's pretty much all you need to do here for the first name, and we're going to do this also for the last name. I'll go ahead and copy paste this and make it a lot faster. Just change this to last, and then make it filter just like that. And then for the email, we're going to do the exact same thing, but instead we're going to use the let's go ahead and just copy both of these over. Change this to email, and this one to comment. And this is going to be sanitize email instead of string. And then this one is going to be sanitize special characters. And go ahead and save that. Oops, I left a $sign over here. I'm going to save that, and we got first name, last name, email, comment. Alright, that looks like we have it. So let's go test some stuff out again. I'm going to refresh it. First of all, we're just going to do the regular information without any malicious code. We're just going to test it to make sure the PHP code is working like it's supposed to. Everything's working here. So let's try with a script now. Well, actually, first let's try to just bold it. See if we can force an HTML tag in there. And as you can tell, it did not make our frost bold. So we filtered that out. It filtered the entire tag out. So let's try to do a script now. We'll try the same one, the pop-up message. You are vulnerable. And I'm not even going to fill these out, because if this works, it's just going to pop up the pop-up message, and the rest of the content will be displayed here, but it doesn't really matter. So now we just submitted it, and look what we have here. We have no pop-up, but we have the information here. And as you can tell, what it did is it removed the script tag off the beginning and a script tag off the end. So as long as that script tag is not in there, the browser cannot tell that it's JavaScript. So instead of treating it as JavaScript, it treats it as text, and it displays the text here. And if we view the page source, you'll see that it's just a text there. And instead of using the double quotes, it actually put the ASCII code here on each side of the you are vulnerable. So that worked. Our first name worked, so let's test it on the last name and make sure the last name's alright. I'm going to actually copy this here in a second instead of typing it out every time, so that we can test it on the rest. Alright, let me copy this. Alright, we're going to test it on the last name. Alright, you can see that the first name is empty and there's the last name. And I can assure you it's going to work on, it should work on the email. And as you can tell, what it did here on the email is it removed all tags. It'll remove every single thing except for dots and at symbols, which is how an email is supposed to be. So let's test that out real quick. Since we have an at symbol in every single email address that exists, there's always an at symbol, and there's always some kind of a dot in there for .net, .com, .tk, or whatever. And as you can tell, the dot and the at symbol is still there. It only removes certain characters to make the email the way it's supposed to be. So our email sanitizer is working just great. And let's test the comment. First of all, let's try to put a comment in here and make it bold and see if it'll let us put a HTML tags in here. As you can tell, instead of making the content bold, it actually put the ASCII characters in its place to make it actually display as the type of content was. And if you go here and you look at the page source, you'll see that it has the codes in here for that. So the way the special characters filter works is any special character that it finds, it puts the ASCII characters in instead, so that instead of submitting it with the actual HTML tags, it actually displays the tags to the browser itself. So if you decided you wanted to do something like the heart that I was telling you about, you do your heart here, and it'll actually display the heart also, instead of filtering it out. So for comments, it's better to use the special characters instead of the string or any of the others. From what I've tested, it's better to do that. So as you can see here, we have a secure code. No type of scripting can be submitted in our form, and this filter will filter out every single thing, no matter what they try to put in, and it will display it to the page the way it's supposed to be. And that's pretty much it, folks. I'm going to do a follow-up video on some SQL injection, and we're going to use this filter inputs and stuff like this to clean the information out, and then we're going to submit it to a database and such, and we're going to test some SQL injections and stuff out. And but I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to that. Maybe in the next couple days. But I appreciate you guys watching this video, and if you like the series or you have any comments or any questions, please put it in the comment area underneath the video. And thank you guys for watching. Though our website and our Facebook will be down at the bottom of the video also. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you.